From LegitTechTutorials, and welcome back to beginning CSS. So today we're going to talk about colors. So go ahead, and while I'm talking, go ahead and copy down what I have here. And you'll notice that we have again embedded. We have an embedded type style sheet here. And if you can't remember, just go ahead and copy what I have here, and yeah, and we'll be able to continue on. All right, so. Now, selecting colors, there's a couple different ways to select colors and use those to style a element. There is three main ways. RGB values, if you are familiar with colors for digital things, it's a combination of red, green, and blue to create any color on the color wheel. So that's what RGB is red, green, blue values. And then you have hex codes. Hex codes is a long string of hex digits that corresponds to a certain color of different combinations of three elements. And then of course you have the color name, the standard color name. So let's go ahead and go over those three. So let's say here that we wanted like a dark cyan, or let's just say like blue. Also, another thing to quickly jump into, this is a color picker for Dreamweaver. And now here you see that it gives you the hex down here, but if you did RGBA, which we'll go over RGBA here in a second, you see here that there's the combo for RGBA, and here's the HSLA, and we'll go over that later. And here you could see that you could select a little color tab, so you could quickly jump to it. But let's just go back to blue. So let's go ahead and jump to blue, and we got that one, and we have an H2, and the color is going to be, let's do a hex. So let's go ahead and jump in, and let's check a hex of like E80003. Let's do that. So you have 3 zeros and a 3. So E80003. And then we have P, and let's just do a RGB value of like an arbitrary one, 50, 50, 50. Now what does this mean here? Okay, so 50 is the red, 50 here is the green, and 50 here is the blue. So it goes red, green, blue. And this would look very familiar to you if you know standard coding, because it's a parameter, which is pretty basic. Alright, so now when we go into here, you see that we have this setup, but I think that this guy might be a standard arbitrary color. So let's do like 150. So now we're getting like a gray. Let's do like a let's mix this guy up. There we go. Now we're getting like a purple. All right. So as you see here, we have this is the heading, and this is the heading 2, and this is the paragraph. Is a P, and this is a P. So that's what we're working with here. Now that is a foreground color. Now let's go over the background color. Background color is, remember, like we said, there's an imaginary box around each element that we could style. So the background color lights up the box around it. So let's say that we did like a black. Let's say we did like a black background color. So let's just go into here and expand it, and we'll say background color, background, and then dash color. And then let's go ahead and jump into the color picker. Let's just put black. And then let's do this one blue, the previous blue. Let's do this one like purple, not purple, red. Alright, and you see there it sets the whole block background color. And of course, as you know, for the styling of this, you would of course want them to be contrasting each other, so you could easily see. Similar to what you see here, this is pretty contrasting, this not so much. This here is pretty good, red and blue. Two different sides of the color wheel, and of course you have to learn, you know, color theory, this and that, in order to learn that. That is the background color. So we went over previously the foreground color and then the background color. So the other thing for the hex is that what you saw there when we went into the color wheel, when we jumped into that color wheel, is it had the hue, the saturation, and brightness. So we have three things to pick from. Hue is the idea of color. You remember you've seen those color patches where it's got those different hints of color. It's like a rainbow looking straight bar. And then saturation is the amount of gray that's in the color, and brightness is the amount of white that is in the color. Yeah, so you could have, you know, very basic color picker most of the time. Most programs have got that. And of course, like I said, you want stuff to contrast, etc., etc. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over opacity and RGBA. So opacity is the, remember when you see things that are like transparent? That is opacity, is when things are semi-opaque, or, you know, almost completely opaque, or solid, or almost completely see-through. And then RGBA is the same thing as we did previously, red, green, blue, and alpha channel. Alpha channel is the same exact thing as opacity. It performs very, very similar. So what we could have is something like, let's go ahead and change another one of these values here. Let's go ahead and do a opacity and set that to 0.5. And this is in percentage, so of course if you want to get the percentage, you multiply by 100. So this is 50. This is 50% opacity, so it's half opacity. Let's go ahead and let's space this out and go ahead and close that. But see, the thing is that I'm not exactly sure what it's setting it on. So that is opacity. And then we have RGBA. So let's go ahead and set that here. Instead of color, it's gonna be background color. Let's change this to RGBA instead of just a standard setup. So you're gonna go here and you're gonna do RGBA. And here we have the color wheel again, and here you see RGBA. So you could change the transparency, and you see here it's changing the transparency. So let's do like a kind of this type of color. And get rid of the blue. So you see here it's kind of freaking out. Right here, it's actually right here, the second one you see there. That is the RGBA value. And again, that is red, green, blue with an alpha channel, which is probably what you're going to use a lot more than opacity. And if you see there, this piece is the same exact thing that we did for opacity. The .62 is 62% opacity, so, or 62% alpha channel. So that gives us that transparency. All right, then we have finally we have HSL colors, which is hue, saturation, and lightness. So hue is basically, like I said, remember we have the long straight piece and the different parts on the color wheel, or you could imagine it as a color wheel. So let's go ahead and try some of that. So again, also what you want to do on this is you want to have a backup. So just in case the person that's using it, their browser does not work with HSL colors, you want to have, because remember, like we said, whatever happens after this setup, so we have two. So what we're going to do here is have this set to the last one, and if it doesn't understand the last one, it won't override it. So if it doesn't have HSL colors, then it will just go with the first option. So here we go back into HSL colors, and here you see that we're in HSL colors, but this has got an alpha channel. Don't worry about the alpha channel. Imagine that that's not there, because we could either work with HSL or HSLA, but in this case just go with HSLA because it just adds that extra opportunity. And here you see here it's got the hue, saturation percentage, the lightness percentage, and the alpha channel. The alpha channel is at 100%, so it's not opaque at all. So let's go ahead and set it to this guy, somewhere around there. Now when we go here, you see that it reset that black, so Dreamweaver does allow us to use HSLA. And now if you don't want to use HSLA, you could just get rid of the hue here at the end. And there you go. And then if you want to go back, you just add the hue percentage. So let's say I want to go back to like a 5%. And you see here we also have the percent symbol, so you could use the percent symbol as well instead of the dot whatever. But in this case I'll use just a dot. And there you go, now it's semi-opaque. Alright, so I'm pretty sure I don't need to go over HSL and HSLA. Just you could see there obviously from what we did on the last one the difference between the two. Alright, so that's mainly it for colors. You can mess around with this to get more acquainted with colors, but that is basically it. So that's the end of this tutorial. This has been Steven from LegitTechTutorials, and I'd like to thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe for more videos like it in this series and other series as well. If you have any questions, email me. If you have any comments, leave them in the description. Comment them in. And if you want to see the book that I'm using for the reference book for the series, check out the description. And also check out my website if you have a chance. It's pretty cool stuff on there. Alright, so thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy. Peace.